Hello, everybody. I am doing a YouTube for no particular reason except, I don't know. I might not be doing one for a while after this. So I thought I'd get some final thoughts out here just so you guys can see where I'm at. Not a lot has changed from the YouTube earlier this week, except I've lost a lot more money. Um, I continue to shrink my portfolio. Um, the two buckets of names that I like, and the only two buckets of names I like, are the cash rich biotechs and the strategic deals that are a rounding error for the buyer. So basically, that comes down to three names that I like, and I don't really like anything else. Um, you know the names, but I'll just go through them. First name is ARVN. They reported phase one data today that actually looked pretty good, completely irrelevant. It's trading at $6.50. It has $13 in cash as of March 31st, and it has a tremendous number of assets that have real value. That's really not debatable. I mean, just the Novartis partnership alone, Novartis paid $150 million to run trials in that drug, and ARVN gets milestones and royalties. It doesn't have to put up any money going forward. Obviously, I think the Pfizer deal has $1 billion in value, if not a billion, then many, many hundreds of millions, versus whatever it is now of $450 million market cap. And then you have these phase one drugs that may or may not have value. But at 650, I don't really know what I need to go right here to double my money. Doubling it would get you to a neutral EV. The lower this goes and the more the market is shit, the more likely you get Pfizer to just buy the company, assuming they want the drug. And the reason why I like this and I like Sage much less than I like this, but is that both of those are de minimis rounding errors to their respective buyers. For Pfizer, if they restructured the deal, it's 0.1% of their kind of EV. And if they buy the whole company, even at $20 or $25, it would be 1% of their EV. So it's just completely irrelevant to Pfizer, and it's definitely not something that they would have a problem doing, even in a recession or a depression. With Sage, Biogen is still stealing the company at $10, $12, and it's very important to their long-term revenue outlook, so that they actually have they replace their LOEs that are coming. Is it going to move the needle for Biogen? No. But that, again, is a reason why it's good. It's just not that important to them. And then finally, KROS. It's a $10 stock with $17 in cash and a $5 to $10 value with Takeda that they don't have to fund. Even if they are not rational actors in the near term, they're burning like 65 cents a quarter in cash. So they can't light the company on fire no matter what they do in the next year or two. I'm obviously hopeful that they become rational actors and, quite frankly, that the company's liquidated. But in those three buckets or three stocks, I feel very strong that I will make money in the future, and I might lose money on a mark-to-market basis in the near term, but all that will be temporary. The other names, good luck. Obviously, there's tremendous value in biotech, but again, if you use low leverage and no margin, you can own things like I have not sold my PTGX from that I bought a year ago. I sold all the stuff that I added, but that's still like an 11% position for me now. I've sold all my BBIO options, but I still have the common, and that's an 8% position. And those are basically the only biotechs I own outside of the ones I've named. The other ones are like 3 to 1% positions. SGRY, I have absolutely no confidence whatsoever that they complete the squeeze out. So I've sold 80% of my common there, but that's still a 6% position. I was just huge in these stocks. I think that's pretty much everything. Wow. Your guess is as good as mine what happens there. it seems like it doesn't make a great sense to sign deals right now if you're a buyer. So, meanwhile, JWN, I still own lots of options there that expire in April and July and 2026, and I have no idea if that deal is going to go through now. Uh, they don't really have an out, but that hasn't stopped deals from breaking before in the past in financial crises. So, my drawdown now is like 50% in the last 6 weeks, and 40, 35, 40% in the last 2 weeks. Um, I've had worse. I had an 80% drawdown from 20 April of 2019 to COVID, March of 2020. It was a 80% drawdown. So, at the first time this has happened, my portfolio is at a little bit above the lows of 2024, which I hit 3 times this level. Or again, I'm still like 15% above it, and I'm just playing defense, and I'm pretty depressed. But when I look at something like ARVN, and I realize I'm just a tourist, I'm a biotech tourist, but um, I see so many possibilities of doubling or tripling my money there with very little risk. So, I just have to make sure that I can be around to see it. So I've sold some of that today and bought some options. There's a lot of interesting option trades with ARVN. I like, in the past, I've said I like the July 10 calls. Now I prefer the July 750 calls. I also like October 750, 1250 spreads for $1. Again, you're going to make 5 extra money if they get it right. If it goes back to cash, it's 1250 stock, and they have the levers to pull to get to that, right? I mind you, I am placing a very big bet that Pfizer wants to commercialize this drug and go forward with combo trials. If they don't, it will languish below cash for a very long time because the phase 1 assets are just not interesting in this market, and they're burning too much money. So there is a bet there that has to come true, and you could do your own due diligence whether you think that's going to happen or not. Regarding the broader market and the tariffs and all this stuff, I'm not even so sure it could be undone, because even if you reversed it tomorrow, which you won't do, America is no longer going to be trusted by investors and by partners. So you're not going to see some sort of big rebound in the stock market. And you haven't even seen the economic destruction yet that's coming. It's going to be a massive recession. And I don't know whether there'll be inflation from the tariffs, but there'll definitely be a massive recession. There likely will also be inflation. So you'll have stagflation and lights out America. But that shouldn't affect ARVN, KROS, or SAGE. Any of those things, right? So I can't really come up with any other sectors or names where that's the case. I started selling most of my TripAdvisor over the last 2 weeks. I still have a 1% or 2% position in it. But I mean, who's going to be traveling? Tourism to America is going to plummet. It's the worst place to be in a recession, and or one of the worst places. So there's no price that really makes it attractive to me. Okay, well, you're not going to hear from me much more going forward. I'm going to have real news and a real reason to do this. So I'm fine. This isn't a suicide video. I just wanted to check in. SWTX, I still have like 250 basis points of April options left, and they're too low to sell. So I mean, the odds of a deal there are 1 in 10, I would guess, and that's what I'm getting. I'm getting 10x if it happens. So sounds about right. 1 in 10, I get 10x, but clearly I'm not counting on that. All right, everybody, stay safe, and protect your accounts, and sucks. All right, take care, everybody. Have a nice weekend.